Hi everybody, Jason here at the shop. I wanted to show you a really cool plane that I got the other day. I actually got this one at the tool store above the Woodwright School, so really cool place. This is called a moving fillister plane. We'll get you a close-up look in just a minute. This one is made in about 1830. It's a Benson and Mockridge from about 1830, 1831, something like that. Very, very old plane, but still a very useful plane. This is called a moving fillister plane. So Stanley had a similar couple of metal versions, but this is the older wooden version, which works very, very well. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few parts about this moving fillister. You've got the wedged blade, just like most wooden plow planes, and this escapement here. I'm not going to take this off because we've got it, this fence adjusted. But the iron is skewed on the body of the plane, so it kind of goes at an angle like this across the body instead of straight across, which makes it cut really good across the grain. This fence is adjusted with 2 screws, and you just take a screwdriver, and loosen these screws here, and you can slide the fence wherever you want it and use your square to adjust it where you want it, and then crank it down, tighten the screws. Also has a depth adjustment here, which is a depth stop. It's controlled by this screw up on top. You turn it and it raises and lowers the depth. And it's got, for cutting across the grain, it's got a nicker here. This is made out of a, I think it was a carving tool they made it out of when I bought it. I've just honed it down a little bit, so you just tap that nicker down a little bit there. And sometimes I give it a little tap like that, just to make sure it's seated. But anyway, that nicker will sever the grain going across the grain of the wood and make a cleaner cut for you, so you don't have to tear out as much. But anyway, so there's the toe of the plane, and let's see it in use. Okay, I'm making a table leaf insert for some friends of ours, kind of as a gift to them, housewarming gift, and just because I love them either way. But anyway, this is cherry. We're going to try to make it look a little bit like mahogany with some stain and finish. But either way, I want it to match physically. And it's about a 70-year-old table or more that it's going into, so it's got a funny old Cove molding in it. So I'm going to use this plane here that we talked about, the moving fillister, and I'm going to cut a rabbet, a very small rabbet. And that rabbet is going to provide a place for the rounding plane, or hollow plane, whatever you want to call it. I've heard it called both ways. For this plane to ride and create your Cove molding. So we're going to start with the moving fillister. What you want to do, start up the front of the board. And you want to give this nicker time to score the wood as it goes across. So you want to take it and you want to pull it back across the wood just like that and score the wood. This board's got a little bit of a low spot in it, so I'm going to score it twice. Alright, now you want to start at the front of the cut too. You want to watch when you're doing this, if you're taking and pushing the plane tight against the wood this way so that your fence on the bottom rides along the edge of the wood. You also want to press down firmly, so you're kind of pressing diagonally that way across the board. So here we go. Let's see if we can cut it. When this gets done, it's going to stop cutting, and this depth stop starts riding on the top of this board, and you'll hear it. Almost there. Now, if you hear it kind of stop cutting, and that depth stop is riding on the top. So we're as far as we're going to get with this thing, I think. Still taking off a little bit there. Okay, so with that skewed iron, you get these beautiful, beautiful shavings going across the grain in cherry. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this rounding plane, and I'll just show you a little bit of this. And we're going to take this rounding plane. We've created a rabbet here for this rounding plane to ride in. Let me show you that. Okay, so we've got our rabbet here. And you want to be careful about tear out on the end of this thing. a couple of things you can do to avoid that. Just take a knife here, and I've marked a little mark here where this needs to go to with my marking gauge. That's where the curve is going to go to. So I can actually just kind of carve it out a little bit right there. Just like that. It doesn't have to be exact yet. I'm just going to carve it out a little bit. And what I'm doing is kind of replicating the curve a little bit. There we go. And that should help keep us from having any tear out with the plane. Another thing you can do is when you get towards the end, you can take the plane, turn around, and go the other way. We might have to work it both ways to make it work. But anyway, so we've got our rabbit. And this is going to ride on the rabbit there. So, and also, when I'm using these molding planes, I take my fingers and put them on here and make it a fence with my fingers. If you can, I don't know if you can see underneath here or not. You can see all my fingers right along here help hold the plane in the groove here. So we're going to start back here at the back, and I'm going to start to just kind of push through the groove. Now, when I get to my scribe line, at the top and the bottom, then I'll know I'm at the point where I wanted to be with my curve. You can stop in the middle if you need to, like that. Okay. Just about there. I'm going to take a little bit more up here. Clean it up. Clean it up this way a little bit. Okay, now we're just about there. Alright. I did have a little bit of rough edge right there. Just kind of hit it with the block plane a little bit there to clean it up. Kind of, go across the grain, a bit like you would if you were just easing the edge. I'd probably do the same thing down along that edge, just to ease the edge. Now, another thing you can do to finish it out, you have a pile of shavings here, and then just do like that right there. You put your finger, work it down into the molding. What I'm doing here is burnishing it, a bit like sanding. Just going to burnish that molding there and make it look nice. Makes it nice and smooth too. So there you go. That's the moving fillister plane coupled with a rounding plane or hollow plane to make a little cove molding. Thanks for watching.